Hey guys, what's going on and welcome to another video. This is going to be one of those ones that I put off making for a while because the topic seems to upset a few people and a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but it is something that needs to be spoke about. And during the time that I was putting it off, it's been playing on my mind for weeks at this stage. Like, I need to get it off my chest, if for nothing else, to have my own peace of mind. It is going to be a bit ranty, and as I said, it's a topic that a lot of you don't like to talk about. So if you want to click away from it, by all means. Basically, we're going to be talking about ARK and the enforcement team, or lack thereof for that matter. There is going to be a little bit of information towards the end about what this means for my channel towards ARK and ARK 2. It's not going to be a full in-depth look at what I think about ARK 2 or anything like that, because that's another one of those videos I've just put off. If anyone wants to see it, by all means feel free to request it, I may very well do it. But this video itself is going to be mostly focused on ARK 1 and the state of the game at the moment. So let's take a look at it, shall we? I see a dolphin. Who's on dolphin?
Not me.
That's him. He's got a speed hacking dolphin as well with aimbot. Yeah, it's just gonna insta-killing me.
There's legit no way for us to fight this unless we get fucking Shadow and
Go together. Yeah. See that? He just hit two of us at the same time. He shot Alex at the same time as he shot us. I've seen him. He's coming from our left.
Yeah, I see him.
Oh, come on. I had the jump on him.
Oh, he's behind us?
It wasted my stun too.
What?
He's pre-netting. He's pre-netting. Yeah, pretty much.
How did he grab you that time?
Oh, that's gonna teleport me back surely.
No, it's not. That's what it did to me. He does it so he can fucking breath you. Oh! Just hop on the back of it.
Yeah, that's right. You wanna fucking run?
Wait for a second, cunt, and fucking logs went fucking red. And I was confused. And I saw parasols going off. I'm like, okay. And then I saw fucking fridges were destroyed. I'm like, fuck me, can't we meshed?
Yeah, if he keeps doing that, you might be able to get a beam on him. What?
You already killed me.
The fuck is the melee on that motherfucker?
Told you, they only build melee on them.
Yeah, okay, so are we starting to see a message here? Like, are we starting to see something that's a real problem? This is just a fraction of the clips that I have, and these are my personal clips. This isn't even the clips of what's happened to other YouTubers out there. This isn't even the clips of what's happened to my tribe mates alone. These are all my own personal clips, and it's not even half of them. Not even a fraction. And I don't even want to hear the whole welcome to Smalls bullshit, because that's got absolutely nothing to do with it, because some of these clips weren't even from Smalls. Yeah, without a doubt, Smalls is a lot worse than 1x at the moment, but I can tell you right now that Smalls is a precursor of what's to come for 1x if they don't up their game. And of course we've reported all of these instances because what else are you supposed to do? And after you wade through the pile of shit that the ticket system is in the first place, jumping through all of their hoops and answering questions that are completely irrelevant, like the ticket system in its own is flawed. There's questions there that sometimes you might not even have an answer for, like Steam IDs and stuff like that. Like, you gave them all free Epic accounts that can't be tracked. How the fuck would you like me to get a Steam ID for them? This is how confident they are. They're cheating on main accounts now because nothing ever gets done about it. But nevertheless, we put in tickets about it anyway, just in the off chance that something actually does get done. And you get the same generic reply every single time. Like one time we got meshed, the reply that we got was, an investigation into the matter is now underway and we do not require any further information from you to proceed. We will now be moving your report to closed status whilst we investigate. By investigate, they mean do fuck all, by the way. Due to the player privacy, we are unable to discuss the status or outcome of the investigation. Excuse me? What do you mean? You can report people in Overwatch. You can report people in CSGO. And it will tell you that a person you've made a report against has been banned since. Thanks for making the game a better place, yada yada yada. What fucking privacy violation is that? There is no privacy violation to telling you whether they were cheating or not. I'm not asking you to send me their house address. I'm asking, is the problem dealt with? When I read that, and what I take that as, is WildCard basically saying, we ain't gonna do fuck all about it, but we don't want you to get pissed off about it either. And it's like, oh boy, I'm gonna get pissed about it when I've reported it 3 fucking times, and the same guy has come back and attempted to mesh me for a 4th time, and the dino he used in the first time is still sitting inside our mesh when you close the ticket and said it's been dealt with. Of course we're gonna get pissed off. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and claim that I have all the answers or the fixes for it, but some fucking effort would be nice. As for Gacha and Raptor, they're both fucking useless. I don't know how much sway they have over things in general, but it seems like they're very reluctant to do their job most of the time. Like, it's bad enough I've got to wait 3 days for a reply, but then to have the ticket just closed and nothing done about it, and then I had to put in another ticket when it happens the following night, and then again the following night after that just to have them all closed and nothing done about it. I don't know, man, it seems like you really don't want to do your job. There was no contact to our tribe, there was no attempt to move the dinos from the mesh, and the player's account that we reported, who was on a main account and was a Steam user with a usable ID that we sent to them, did not get banned. Nothing got done about it. And then Rhoda put out a video, and something that he said really hit close to home, because that was pretty much how I felt about it as well. And I have Rhoda's permission to use this part of the video, because not only did I get Parasite to ask him, because they were in the same big tribe on 1x, but I also asked him personally myself, and he said it's fine. But this is what he said.
He said that he was the guy meshing me basically. He knew things only the mesher could know, so it's definitely him. And while I was nicely talking with him, he told me everything the WildCard dev support had done. To give that away, it was not that much according to him. By the way, if you are seeing that, thanks for being that honest. Cheating in ARK is really no problem of the community anymore. It's a dev support problem, 100%. Of course, meshing bases is still a bad thing, completely. But considering that you can't compete on ARK official PvP clusters anymore, if you are legit, it's really not a problem we as community can solve. Just think about the account sharing teaming on small tribes. Every big tribe is doing it. Think about defending against aimbot as a small or medium-sized tribe. Only doable if you have aimbotters yourself. Dupe max or dupe items in general on 1x, for example. Every tribe is just mech rushing everything or rocket running death walls in capped tech suits. Only the devs can do something against that, and they are apparently not doing anything.
So basically, Rhoda was getting meshed, and luckily he logged on and caught them red-handed. He then took their specimen IDs and sent all of the evidence that he had to the devs, and basically nothing happened. Like, you can go watch his video and watch it in depth. I didn't want to show too much. I don't want to straight up steal his video or anything like that. But in a nutshell, he ended up having a conversation with the guy, and the guy told him everything that the devs did against him, which was nothing pretty much. Removed a couple of beds that were close by Rhoda's base, that was it. But really, they didn't do all that much considering he still had stuff outside the mesh. Like, they patched the way that he used to get in, but it didn't matter when he already had beds outside the mesh. He then finished up by saying this.
I know it's probably hard to work on a game that is about to be replaced by ARK 2. I wouldn't even say anything if the dev support would have been different at any certain point in time, but it wasn't. It was always like that.
And he's 100% right. I'm sure there's a few of us out there that could have forgave WildCard had they been actually good devs up until this point, especially with enforcement, but they haven't. The fact remains that they've always been useless. Whether it be from poor enforcement or to just keeping the community in the dark and delaying shit last minute, WildCard's never been on the ball. To the point where one of their community managers got bullied so badly because of it, they switched up games. But they don't want to talk about that. But then I remember when they said, oh, we're going to communicate and be as transparent as we possibly can, and make sure that if stuff's going to be delayed, we let people know way ahead of time, all that sort of stuff. You know, good communication with your community. And that lasted all of a week. But for the week there that it did work, it was great. Everybody knew what was going on, nobody was left in the dark, things were going smoothly. But it didn't last. And now I've been around for a long time, whether you've heard of me or not.
Oh, it was the raptor.
Help, help, help!
I shot that asshole. It's only 28. Oh, it has an inventory.
No, I'm picking up.
I've played on multiple accounts across multiple platforms. I've played pretty much every end of the game that you could. I've played MTS, I've played in big tribes, I've played in small tribes, I've played solo, and I've just generally bobbed around. So I've got a pretty good amount of experience in the game. In total, somewhere around the 14k mark. And no matter how many times I strayed away from ARK, I always came back. And that's because ARK is a special game, but unfortunately has a very, very dark side as well. And to see a game that you idolized become nothing more than a breeding ground for cheaters and real money traders, it's beyond heartbreaking, it really is. I've had friends over the years ask me is the game worth buying, and this is the analogy I use to describe it. Like, the statistics aren't accurate by any means, that's not the purpose of the analogy, but it gets the message across. The way that I'd describe WildCard would be that if they were millionaires, then they should have been billionaires. This game had basically infinite potential. There's a reason that it's lasted as long as it has. And that's because there is no other game out there that's like ARK. If there was another game out there that did ARK but better, ARK would have been dead a long, long time ago. Because that's literally all that's kept it going. The way that I look at it is it's one of those games that had basically no ceiling. It could have been as big as they wanted it to be, but undercapitalization is what ultimately killed it. Poor enforcement and not taking advantages of the best situations imaginable. Like you had survival of the fittest. Imagine if they'd actually put the effort into that when BRs all blew up. That could have been huge. That could have actually shot ARK up so much more than it already was. Because it had amazing potential, just like the actual game itself does. But now so more than ever, it feels like the dev team is the only letdown for it. And now it feels like they're doing it on purpose. And that is something that I've come to believe. Is wholeheartedly I believe that WildCard is deliberately trying to kill ARK 1. And the reason that I think they're trying to kill ARK 1 is because they're worried that the PvP players don't want to move on to ARK 2. And I have my own set of thoughts on ARK 2, and as I said, I might do a video on it if people are interested in seeing it, but I can totally understand why the PvP community is up in arms about ARK 2, and at the same time I can kind of see what WildCard's doing as well. But the way that it is now, it feels like WildCard's just slapped the community across the face essentially. For all the ones of us that have stayed here for all the thick and thin over the years, just to get slapped in the face and basically no enforcement on any of the cheating. It's a real shame. And it's funny that Rhoda said what he said also.
But considering that you can't compete on ARK official PvP clusters anymore if you are legit.
Too, because I remember probably 6 or 7 videos ago I said everybody on 1x is cheating. More specifically, I called out certain tribes like Sentinels and stuff like that were cheating. And then sure enough, more or less, Sentinels got caught red-handed when they were aimbot in Dark Legacy. Like, there was videos to prove it. If you haven't seen the videos, they're out there if you want to see them. But it was blatantly obvious that they were aimbotting. And what I came to say was everybody on 1x is cheating. Every single big tribe out there is cheating. And basically, I got called a liar and whatnot. But I did a 1x series of my own where we encountered every single big tribe on 1x and they all cheat. I can 100% tell you that they all cheat. And it's funny now because Rhoda's confirmed it with what he said, that you cannot compete on official without having cheats of your own. And then Curtis went on to comment on Hod's video about not wanting to be a hypocrite. Curtis was one of the people I disliked the most at the time. Nothing against him personally, but because he knew that his tribe was cheating and chose to do nothing about it, whereas when somebody added an aimbotter to our tribe, I kicked them immediately.
I wish I could fucking see what he was doing right now, I tell you what.
I fucking got his left.
No, I kicked him.
Oh, you did? He does have aimbot.
Oh, he's aimbotting us then.
Yeah, he just did.
Oh, he's auto aimbot and will aim.
He's dead. He's dead. He's dead.
The one thing I'll say for Curtis though is he did redeem himself a little bit in my eyes. Not that he really cares what I think, but just saying in general conversation is he did redeem himself a little bit on Hod's videos when he commented and said like not to be a hypocrite, basically outing himself for knowing that his tribe was cheating. So at least there is that. But the thing is, at the end of the day, like Rhoda said, you can't be pissy at the community anymore. Don't be sitting out there claiming that you're the last legit 1x tribe because it's just not a thing. It's not. There is no such thing as a legit tribe on 1x anymore. There's cheaters that are involved with them. You might not know about them because you're low enough down the ranks or whatever, but I can assure you they all have aimbotted. And it's not their fault anymore. Like, the community cannot be held accountable for cheating to deal with cheaters, because that's the only thing you can do. WildCard's too slow to deal with them, and if you don't have cheaters, you get wiped by cheaters. It's just that simple. To think that you're going to start some shit on 1x or even on smalls these days, especially smalls in fact, and you're just going to be legit and be able to compete with people that are duping hundreds of thousands of items every single day and aimbotting and meshing and all of that. If you think you can compete with them, you're completely delusional, because it's just not possible. What you can do in a day, they can do in like 2 seconds. It's not possible to keep up with them. The worst part about ARK is there's not one type of cheat that's super popular. popular. There's a bunch. Like, there's a massive variety of different types of cheats. There's ESP, there's aimbot, there's God mode, although that's rare. Then of course there's the speed hacks, auto railgun, all of that sort of stuff that you see more commonly. And we've all seen them if we've played at a high end capacity in the game before. They started off as green skin characters, but since the recording of that video, I've seen ones with red skin, cyan skin, and I've seen them with pink skin. So obviously there's no real limit to it. Ultimately, I'd love to see WildCard up their support for the game, but it's just not going to happen. Let's be realistic for a second. Like, why are they going to go out and waste that sort of money on the first one when they're already making a second? Like I said, I have my own thoughts on the whole second one in general, but that's the reality of it. There is a second one coming out. It's not going away. The first one is getting put out the back with old Yeller. So it only makes sense why, from a business standpoint, they're not interested in spending the money. The only thing that I wish is that they'd come forward and be honest and say, look, don't waste your fucking time playing it. Because the game is dying at a rapid rate. And from recent experiences, the game is literally unplayable without cheats of your own. Like, there's some small things that they could do just to do some basic enforcement. Like on small tribes, for instance, go to literally any Ragnarok the type hop server, and I guarantee you'll get at least 5 cheaters within a half an hour. That would be a solid start. Remove the railgun, fuck it off altogether, there's no need for it in the game. We didn't need it back then, we don't need it now. Make it so you can only put 2 or 3 structures on a platform so that you don't have illegal box races for one. We don't want them gone completely because they're a valuable soaker, but you don't need it so that they can just walk up to your turrets and not get shot at all. That's just stupid. And basically just up general activity in the enforcement. Like, you don't even have to do that much. Like, you don't have to add anything extra, just make it so there's an active enforcement team. Make it so you don't got to sell your soul to the devil to get hold of them and hack off an arm and a leg to actually get something done about it. If for nothing else, you owe it to the community for the ones that have stuck by us for years. As for ARK on my channel, basically I have a bunch of content that's still recorded that I've been doing over a certain period of time. I'm going to continue to bring that out. Like, the 1X series is going to still be a full-blown series up until the end. After that, I'm going to back it up and it's going to be a little bit less of like more active series and more just like episode to episode sort of stuff. And maybe some PvP and stuff like that in between it. But generally PvP at the moment is not all that fun. Also, as a result, I've decided to change my Steam recommended to a not recommended with a description as to why. Myself and a bunch of others have decided to do this because you've got to hit wildcard wherever you can, and as a development team, if this is all over their stuff everywhere, then it doesn't look good. And considering they've made absolutely no effort to address the situation or even communicate with the community that it's even a problem in the first place, we've got to try to hit them wherever we can. And if that means having to review bomb it, then so be it, because it's not like it's unjustified. It definitely does not deserve a good rating at the state it's in. And you'd be surprised how big of an impact negative reviews actually have on a game. And if they don't want to address it or communicate with us, then we've got to do everything that we can in our power to make sure that they have absolutely no choice. I remember a good while ago, HOD called them out for the meshing problem way back in the day, and as a result they ended up actually being in HOD, but then the whole community went up in an uproar and things got set right. HOD eventually got his account back and a little bit of work was actually done to prevent meshing. But the problem is with WildCard, when they deal with a problem, is they deal with one little part of it and then they think they can just take their foot off the accelerator rather than actually keep on it. And it's just not good enough. So if you haven't already, I recommend that you go and change to a not recommended as well. It's entirely up to you, but it's something that I would recommend if you do give a crap about the game. If all the community, or as much of the community as we can muster up, does it together, then it's going to look really, really bad on their behalf. You have more power than what you think you do, so why not help to be the difference? So pretty much once that dries up, I'm looking at starting to phase ARK out for now. Like, the amount of time I have to invest to actually get usable footage on this game, it isn't fair. Like, I'm missing out on a lot of shit in other games, I'm missing out on a lot of stuff in real life as well, and it isn't fair to the people around me or myself. Because if you've played with me before, you know that nobody gives up as much shit as I do. I've invited quite a few people along to play that have watched my videos before, and they've seen the amount of effort that I put in. I literally refuse to be outworked. And it's just gotten to the stage where the game's just not worth it anymore. It's just not. So that's pretty much the direction that that's heading. And I think that's where I'm going to leave the video, guys. I shall see you in the next one. Later.